Author of 2 books of poetry, Randy Phyllis writes, I've been at CMU MSc since 1992, teaching writing and American Lit. I've had the same office for 18 of those years, and now they're making me clean it out. I don't like that one bit. I'm a pack cat. Randy Phyllis.
Thanks, and thanks for asking me, John. I thought I would start off, you called us the Old Guard, so I want to start off with an Old Guard poem. And by Old Guard, I mean you.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. This is a short poem about being comfortable where you're at. And it's after a poem by James Tate. It's called Slow Speed Connection. Picture a closet. It's okay to be in the closet. All my shoes have met without me. They're tapping out an SOS because of my poor hygiene. I have shirts in the closet who believe it's the 70s. Dr. Wright. They've never heard of cell phones or the internet. To them, the web is what grows in the dark corner above, and that's enough. In the meantime, I've discovered I've eaten poorly my whole life. The striped cat sleeps beside me, and I hear his engines turn in this room made just for us. I wanted to read a couple of poems about springtime, because it's spring. And it's a good time of year, and so the idea of resurrection and rejuvenation in the cycle, I think that's going to go on the rest of these. First one is probably not as direct, but it's what it's like when you're old and you find yourself in a place surrounded by young people, but you can't see because you're old. It's called Hot Springs. The water below gleams like the buttons on a woman's shirt, calls us to jump, a couple of white-bottom pairs, holding hands, plunging, surfacing with a mystified squint toward the sun, the rocks, each other. In the mist, everyone laughs oblivious to their haloed heads, teeth flashing like coins thrown for good luck. And then we're on the edge and sitting in the shimmer of steam, happy geodes cracked open. It's oddly like a first kiss, deep and surprising as the sun sets into cricket chat and plum, and we move in even closer, wet thighs and sides pressed together. This one's called Hailstorm. And when it's over, shingles litter the lawn, the garden, and her irises are the dart of deep petals, her heart sinking into the sad shape of her back as she hangs over the broken pennies, the once swollen roses, now bare. Still, the sharp angle of the sun as it breaks through shows the meadows of her hair, and I believe I see the eyes rebound, lovely, when the alum stands again on its own, unpropped in the cluttered mud. And this is a John poem, which I find to be strikingly beautiful, and he just comes out and says, cycle. Always wear your helmet. Upriver from the Sea of Cortez. A vulture's shadow ripples over River Run, while far away a pony engine shuttles freight from track to track, its diesel murmur riding the soft wind from valley wall to valley wall. A heron spirals downward, settles in a pond by an abandoned factory, rust, steel girders, a fat boiler graced by graffiti, South Side, 13, Shy Girl, Igapo. The muddy Colorado flows under the bridge, lost to view as it heads downriver toward the Sea of Cortez. And I remember holding my father's hand while peering across the gray waters of a lake 2,000 miles from here, watching the great flocks of migrating Canadian geese circling in, like the vulture, like the heron, the shy girl, and the cat, the boundless cycle of time, life to death to life again. And then I don't know, it's like spring, so I think a lot about death, right? This poem has an epigraph by John Prine, guitar player. It's called, Give My Knees to the Needy. You know that song? Great song. This poem's called Directive. When death unzips me, let there be no struggle to pick a stone. Give away what you can, chest bone to instep, a gesture, a fist of hope opening its fingers. Have a party. Forget this tired, baggy skin that stood in a heap. A generous pocket of silence might be nice between songs. Think of me, free and delicate on the horizon, the color of tangerines, thinking of your hair like dark copper. Do not knit yourself into a sleeve. Let there be no dust-hushed spaces. Think, if you like, I'm there in the little girl's braids, the sockets where lizards glimpse out, nurse logs and spongy trunks, small sacks of groceries. Maybe it'll help, but don't kid yourself, I'm gone. Move on. Smile at the children setting the table, the kitten who squeaks through the afterbirth not yet licked off, the men who tilt their heads up, even in groundless hope. If it keeps you deeply alive, listen for the click of carry-ons, the pop of a single bubble. Remember kisses like the ocean and the smiling mess of an apron man icing a cake.
First page.
First page.
It's sitting there. Yeah, there you go.
It's a trick.
At the top.
Oh, poet, deep ecologist, and Rainbow Family elder, our good times in Norwood, weaves non-traditional coil baskets, grows 50 pressed varieties of organic heirloom potatoes, and is serving his fifth term in Telluride as Colorado's only Green Party County Commissioner. Man, that's a mouthful. Founder of various Talking Gourds poetry events since 1989 and poet in residence of the Telluride Mushroom Festival since 1981. He served as the first poet laureate of the Western Slope, and his most recent book is Looking South to Lone Cone. Art Chipman.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and especially to honor John Nizalowski, who's been a long-time friend, and I see a lot of wonderful folks here on the slope. So I wanted to read a poem that he wrote for Isadora, his daughter, who is actually my goddaughter, so I'm very proud of that and honored. It's called God's Fire. My daughter reads a book on alchemy, tells me of the valley where the stars fade. Wonderful image, I say. I'll steal that for my next poem. Can't, she replies. T.S. Eliot already used it. Smart-ass 17-year-old. Those modernists took everything, leaving us with nothing to say. That's how postmodernism was born. However, after my daughter tells me the story, I dream of the valley where the stars fade. I am standing with a former lover who forgives my trespasses, climbs into her white Cadillac, and becomes an angel. As I awaken, I remember when that angel poet, John Knoll, came to me just before we were to do a reading and handed me a pint of ginger brandy distilled in the fire of an alchemist's retort. We downed it in 6 short jabs, like boxers sparring before a bout. Man, I read as if God's fire possessed my soul that night. John Nizalowski. So it is spring, so we have to do a little spring poem, huh? It's only fair. Worship the crocus. Discover the cast tongue. Break invisible jars. Honesty. I told everyone I loved her. I told her I love everyone. Oh boy, honesty. Now nobody wants to see me. This is called skinning the elk. There's a whole lot of life in these animals. George nods almost like a prayer as I hold the hoofed leg steady for the knife. Mist rising from the gutted belly. Skin still warm. Tempered steel peels back. Thick hide. Fur. The dark meat of the interior. Secret organs slide steamy in the full moonlight. On the bed of Greenbank's battered pickup. I can't stop peering at the glazed crystal of those antlered eyes. 2 perfect rivets welded to the girder of that skeletal moment when the bullet's magic cut life short. Later, after the carcass is hung in a cottonwood tree, I go inside to wash my hands. But the blood won't come off. And there's no mistake, I am marked for life. I wear the elk's tattoo as its meat becomes my meat, and its blood stains my blood. Spirit leaping from shape to shape. Spirit leaping from shape to shape.